he had been planning on. It was a catastrophe to him, this experience. And he realized, I don't like this school. It's too big. I feel too anonymous. I don't even like my major. You know how sometimes people say, oh, you're good at this, and they kind of steer you in directions, and you think, okay, I'm good at this, therefore I should do this. And he felt like he had been kind of guided along and had all those plans, and then realized, I don't even like this. I don't even know what I want to do. And going into his junior year, he thought, well, it's too late. I can't change it now. But he did. It completely upended. This one thing that he was not planning on completely upended all of his plans and sent him in a totally different direction in his life. Not just with school and profession, but the people he was around, his faith life, all of it. Everything was overturned. Now, as I'm telling you about him, some of you are probably thinking of your own experiences of catastrophe, of something that happened to you that has changed the course of your life. You spent all this time, like 90% of our time is spent on the planning of something, and you think that that's what will shape your life, and then something comes from seemingly out of nowhere and overturns it. And I bet every one of us here can think of many examples, and maybe whether you can or can't, you're starting to worry about what's coming in the future. As I'm describing, you're like, please stop talking about this, because I don't want to think about, I've got plans right now. What if something a week down the line, a year down the line, 10 years down the line just shows up and completely overturns it? In our gospel reading today, we have the story of Jesus' resurrection, but it starts with the women going to the tomb. Now, they're going to the tomb with a plan. But actually, I want to rewind a little bit. Let's go back a week before the events of Easter, when Jesus is coming into Jerusalem riding on the donkey to shouts of Hosanna, save us, blessed is the King of Israel. As Jesus is coming into God's holy city to these shouts and praises and welcome, you have to imagine that the women and the other disciples are making plans, wouldn't you? They're making plans. Hey, the ministry is actually working. People are responding to Jesus. Look what's happening here. And so they and the other disciples are undoubtedly planning for what the future is going to look like, what their ministry is going to be like, what their life is going to be shaped by. And then as the week goes, this unravels. There's a catastrophe. That's what the cross is. It's a catastrophe. Jesus is betrayed. He's denied, he's rejected, he's killed. All of the plans that they were making are gone in an instant. Now, they come on that first Easter morning, but they don't know it's that first Easter morning. They're coming to the tomb at dawn with plans. They're planning like we often do for the worst case scenario. They're planning to find Jesus' body there, and to maybe prepare that body for the next step in his burial. It was a temporary location. They didn't realize how temporary the location was at that moment. But they're coming prepared for death, prepared for the end. That's their plan. And then what happens? It's actually another catastrophe. It's a totally other catastrophe. The earth literally moves under their feet. This is what we often think about when we think of catastrophes in our day and age, of natural disasters. Matthew tells us there is an earthquake. Everything is moving under them. Isn't that how we feel when our life is being upended? Right? Everything is just moving underneath us. And the angel comes, dazzling white and terrifying. They're not sweet things. They always have to tell people, don't be afraid of me. And rolls the stone away from the tomb. And there's another catastrophe here. Everything has been changed. In fact, they were planning for Jesus to be dead. Who knows what their other plans were? Guess what? Those plans don't mean anything anymore either. Which makes you wonder, is there such a thing as a good catastrophe? Can there be such a thing as a good catastrophe? We probably just hear that word and think only of the bad, but can there be a good catastrophe? I heard another story recently of a young man. This was reported by a guy named Jonathan Goldstein. And the young man's name is Jesse. And some years back, he, kind of like my friend in college, was, living life the way he was thinking it was days when the weather was nicer. He got on his bike and went out to the park to eat lunch on his lunch break from work. And while starting his life out, by a person driving a car at 45 miles an hour, it hit him and completely knocked time leading up to it.